Hey everyone, welcome back to AndyDemos. Today I'm looking at a very cool fuzz that has been reborn but still retains a very classic nature with 3 germanium transistors. It's the Blammo Electronics Skronk Machine. The tone of this mid-60s underdog is notoriously raw yet tight, and it's a fuzz tone with a distinct mid-range bite and much more decay than other fuzzes from the era. Blammo loads the Skronk Machine with the same foundation of 3 NOS Germanium transistors, and all the mod cons to agree with today's rigs. The Swell control gives you plenty of output to push your amp, while the fuzz has an incredibly useful range across the dial, from slightly broken up textures to Skronkin sustain. The tone control ranges from an original Zonk voicing when wide open, and can help roll off just a little bit of hair or thicken up single coils when all the way back. Its true bypass relay switching also has the option to be momentary when held down. This lets you inject a little skronk into any riff with the utmost precision. And each pedal leaves Portland, Oregon with a consistent transistor biasing, Teflon-coated wiring, and even a new old stock tropical fish output capacitor. Check out this modern take on a classic fuzz at blammoelectronics.com. Alright, so let's just start off by checking out the Skronk with some single coils, and I'm just going to show you the fuzz nearly all the way back, and it's a very hefty sound, especially if you have the swell above unity gain about 3 or 4 o'clock. Right about that point, you start to really hear the sustain and that mid-range kick in. So you hear a bit more fizzle when you get to the higher fuzz settings, and here's where that high cut tone control really comes in handy, especially with some low output single coils. Let's just roll it back to about halfway, keep that fuzz at half, and then take it all the way to full. And just like any classic fuzz, when you just back off on the fuzz amount about 80 or 90%, it really just firms things up. It's just kind of getting rid of the hair on the edges. And now with some humbuckers, and personally I think this is where the Skronk really shines, because there's just something about the voicing that just mixes perfectly with humbuckers. It really pushes that mid-range through, and it, humbucker kind of has a naturally warm tone on the top end, so you don't really have to worry about backing off on so much of that high cut tone control. So as you can see, it really doesn't take a lot of fuzz with humbuckers. You just get that instant singing sustain, and you can kind of use the fuzz when dialing it past halfway just to kind of add a bit more grit and that texture, which is really unique to this circuit. Let's back things off with humbuckers and see just what kind of decay we can get, because it really has a unique way of fading out. It's kind of a starved sound, but it really doesn't cut off the sustain. And one last thing I wanted to mention, this Skronk machine stays very tight compared to a lot of 60s fuzzes that I played through. I don't know how they've done it. Maybe it's a lot of that mid-range, or there's kind of a built-in treble booster quality that keeps it really tight. It also keeps the amp tight as well. And I just love the way it just mixes with all kinds of amplifiers. But today you've been hearing it through a Univox bass head, and that thing has a real nice fat low end. Of course, we're just pushing the mid-range like crazy with the Skronk machine, and it really just shows you that this pedal can get along with anything. Well, there you have it, the Skronk Machine from Blammo Electronics. A really cool take on a very underrated 3-transistor germanium fuzz. And you can find this at blammoelectronics.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for another Andy demo.